#1 classical albums, a regular radio slot. Wynne Evans' spot on Strictly was set to top his year.
But not long after hitting the Strictly ballroom, Wynne found himself at the centre of a media storm after his professional dance partner, Katya Jones, appeared to move his hand from her waist during a live show.
A controversy didn't stop there. Ahead of the Strictly Live tour launch, Wynne gave a fellow contestant what he now describes as an inappropriate and unacceptable sexual gift.
His actions led to his exit from the Strictly tour and his BBC radio contract not being renewed.
This morning, in his first TV interview since those events, Wynne is here to tell his side of the story. Wynne, good to see you this morning. Thank you for coming in.
Morning. What a catch, eh?
It's been quite a year.
Yeah. It has.
Kat and I were only sort of talking about this yesterday, because you came in and you announced being on Strictly.
Yeah.
You were so excited too.
I was,
you did the worm.
Yeah.
And there was so much high excitement and optimism and expectation. It's not been quite like that, has it?
No, it's not been like that for me. Loads of people do Strictly and, you know, it's a fabulous event and they get on really well with it. For me, it wasn't that kind of experience. I hadn't expected the press, the intensity and the focus to be like it was. I mean, I'm sure you guys are used to it now, being, you know, daytime hosts, but for me, to have paps outside the house, to have people following you, to have people hanging on your every word, private conversations, public conversations, all fair game for the newspapers, to put their own narrative on it was extraordinary.
So let's start off by talking about the photo call, because that is a situation, actually, where you know that there are people there to take your pictures.
There's lots of press.
There's lots of press. There was an alleged remark. What happened there?
OK, so we were just there with the photographers. The reporters had left.
OK.
But we were there having some stills taken. I was there. I was talking to Jamie Borthwick. I had this nickname for him, which was Old, and then the word in question, and Boy. So I used to call him this because he could contort his legs over his head. I didn't know there was a reporter still there recording, apparently, on their phone from quite a distance away, and then put their own spin on it, their own narrative on it, taking out the words Old and Boy, which you can absolutely see on the video. It's absolutely crystal clear. And when we've had the volume looked at, you know, the words are there. They're there for everybody to see. She's just said that even though I'm looking at Jamie, they claim that I'm directing this word at Jeanette. And it's totally been taken out of context. Absolutely. The narrative is so wrong on it. In fact, when I saw the narrative in the newspaper, I was just shocked and horrified, because instead of a nickname with another word for rotisserie in it, you know, because this guy could get his legs behind his head like a chicken, it's turned into this sexual innuendo. And I was mortified, absolutely mortified by it. And, you know, I've spoken with Jeanette, as you know, afterwards, and, you know, A, she didn't hear it, B, there was never been any complaints about me, ever, and I was just like, how can somebody take a narrative and change it and, you know, everybody just believe it? Of course, at the time, I'd just lost my brother, I'd broken my foot, I was lying in a hotel room in Glasgow with all these newspapers kind of getting in touch with you. You know what it's like. They ring you the day before, as late as possible, to try and get you to make a comment. The Strictly press tour people rang me and they said, look, you meant to have said this word. Now, if I said to you, Kat, you've said something that's really offended me, you'd go, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, God, I'm sorry.
Yeah. They
took that as an apology. They didn't run it by me. They sent it off to the newspaper. They printed that as my apology.
Yeah.
And that's the situation I was in. And, of course, then it looks like I validated the story.
Yes.
In reply to that, they came back and said the apology issued on Wynne's behalf by the Strictly Come Dancing tour PR representative on Saturday, 25th of January, was fully approved by Wynne.
No, it's not true.
You don't believe that?
No, that's not true. I've got no email. It was not fully approved by me at all.
They have an understanding that that's how they saw it. Sure. That was one of those situations. There were a couple of other incidents as well, as Kat mentioned on the way in. The moment on the show where you were in the back of shots with Katya and you go to put your hand around her waist and she moved your hand away. It's a bizarre little moment. It's a little vignette of the relationship between you and Katya, but didn't look great when you're sitting at home watching, going, oh, that's a bit strange. Can you understand why people sort of got confused by that?
I totally understand that, and I apologise. I don't want to sit here today coming across as a victim, because I'm not. I totally understand why people were upset by that, and I get it. But again, it was... Look, I'm naive then, if I'm anything, right? Because Katya says to me, look, have you seen people are just saying on Twitter and
Instagram or TikTok or
Instagram, all of this, that, you know, every touch, every nuance, I'm sure they do it to you, right? Oh, Ben put his hand on your shoulder. Oh, they're not getting on today. She's turned her back on him, all of that, right? These amateur body language experts. So Katya said to me, right, you put your hand on my waist, I'll move it back, we'll see if anybody picks it up. And boy, did they pick it. In fact, she drags me. You say we're in the background. She drags me. She said to me, let's get down the front to make sure everybody sees it. So we're down the front. I put my hand in her waist, she pulls it back, right? And then I'm sat in makeup afterwards, and I go, oh, my word, this is terrible.
It's exploded.
Right? So I showed it to her, and I said, we need to make an apology video. So we did this apology video, and it was 50 seconds long. And I remember saying to the people at Strictly, oh, look, we've done this video because, you know... And they said, oh, no, you can't put that, that's too long, right? So they go, just make it 10 seconds. Of course, it turns into, like, some kind of hostage-style video where I'm in the background going, sorry, and then we turn into a private joke that everybody wants to know what the joke was. It was just a body language experiment that was picked up on.
And so you're frustrated about that because you feel like the longer version of the video might have seemed more sincere and authentic.
Yeah.
So what the BBC said about that, for the avoidance of doubt, the video in question was filmed twice. All parties agreed at the time that the second, more concise version would be better suited for social media. We know that people on social media have a very short attention span.
Absolutely.
So you can understand why getting it in short 20-second bursts might have been more impactful.
I understand that, but I still think it's the wrong decision. And, of course, I think the thing about Strictly, what I love about Strictly, if I can just say this, what I absolutely adore is the thought of a little girl or a little boy with their sparkles on a Saturday night with their little paddles going, oh, yeah, give him a 10. And I love all of that, right? But the press interest in it, it's a juggernaut. It's extraordinary. And I just don't think that the BBC are quite in control of that press element to it.
Do you feel like you were, and the other contestants were helped to understand the focus that you were going to get? So little things like Katya saying, oh, this will be funny to do, they might be able to say, don't think you can play a game like that because it will get picked up and it will run as a story. The comment that you can make, the nickname you might have for Jamie, as inoffensive as it is to him, out of context could feel very offensive, could seem very offensive.
100%, and I totally get that. You know, it's just those little things that you do on the spur of the moment, you know, that you think, oh, this is funny, and it's not funny. You don't think it through because your mind doesn't work in that way.
Yeah. Well, one thing that was premeditated and not spur of the moment was the gift that you sent Jamie. Explain that to us.
OK, 100%. I'm so glad you're asking me because I want to talk about it, right? So we're on tour. We're spending 24 hours a day with people. You get to know people really well, OK? And it was just a joke that went too far. He'd been talking about this thing backstage. Everybody in the dressing room was, oh, let's get him one. Let's get him one.
Talking about a sex toy?
Yeah, sex toy. I ordered him one off of Amazon. It arrived. As soon as he opened it, the kind of joke was over. It never left the dressing room. It went straight in the bin. I didn't know he'd made a video to send to a friend.
Right.
Saying that this, you know, had been given to him. So that was a joke that went too far, and I apologise for that.
The whole thing also, I think, has been relentless. It feels as though it's, you know, a comment after comment and article after article. This can't have been good for you mentally.
I've had clinical depression since 2016, diagnosed. And it took me in... And I want to talk about it today because I want other people to find strength from that.
Yeah.
It took me into the darkest spot of my life.
I'm sure it
When
did.
the headlines keep coming and coming and coming, and you must have been there yourself when something gets picked up and it just doesn't stop. And I was at my lowest ebb. I wanted to end my life. I would have if I hadn't been surrounded by people. At one point, one of the newspapers was so relentless. I remember saying to my girlfriend, I have to kill myself. I have to, because this is what they want now. They just want me to kill. The same people that were writing Be Kind a few years ago are still relentlessly going after you day after day after day. And that is exhausting.
Yes.
You can't sleep, you can't do anything. full of these thoughts the entire time, and it just takes over your life.
And how has your family and friends been able to turn that around for you, Wynne? How have you turned that around?
So I was under the crisis team for a month, where they just look after you the whole time. And my friends and my family and my girlfriend did a rota that they could be with me 24 hours a day, sitting up with me, because it was just so relentless. But I said to my daughter, you know, I said, I'm sorry I brought shame on the family, because even though I didn't do what they said I did, I'd still brought all these headlines.
Sure, I understand.
And she just said, look, Dad, I know you. You're just a kind person, and I just want you to know that I can see the video. I've seen it for myself. I know exactly what you said. And so they've been utterly brilliant, and my girlfriend has been fantastic as well.
How have the BBC been?
I haven't heard from them since I got suspended. To me, I haven't heard from them, so I don't know. They've only spoken to my lawyers.
Right.
Their right of reply to what you've said is we provided comprehensive duty of care for Wynne that included support by wellbeing professionals. He was also provided with direct access to designated contact at the BBC, who was available to assist him at any time. Plus, he has been offered continued support since his contract with the BBC concluded.
Right.
Were you aware that you had that option?
No, I wasn't aware.
You were?
Of that.
OK.
No.
But they would maintain that it is there for you, should you wish to talk to somebody.
Sure. I just think that sometimes mental health is talked about. You know, we have World Mental Health Week, we have, you know, Mental Health Day, we have all these initiatives, and sometimes I just fear that it's lip service that they're given, and they're not actual. You know, I think we've become brilliant with equality and open access for people with abilities and disabilities, but mental health is still a really dark, a really grey area where we can say, oh, yeah, we've got this policy in place, we've got that policy in place, but actually you need to look after these people with mental health issues, because, you know, in the flip of a light switch, the lights can go out.
Yeah. Well, one person who does look after you is Liz. You just mentioned before that she'd sit with you, and you had a very exciting couple of days, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to Marrakesh on the weekend, and you know, the roads are really uneven in Marrakesh.
Yeah.
I stumbled and found myself on one knee.
It was definitely that.
And then you happened to have a diamond in your pocket.
Yeah.
Ah.
So, yeah, we're engaged on
That's
the weekend.
really amazing.
Congratulations.
To
Thank you so much.
It's that, look, it's the expectation, the excitement for lots of people who'll be thinking about the new series of Strictly coming up, Wynne. What would your advice be to them?
I'd say, not to the contestants, to the people watching it, keep watching it. Keep watching Strictly, it's beautiful, right? The dancing is beautiful. I'd say, please don't believe everything you read in the press, and sometimes don't believe anything you read in the press, you know, because a lot of it is just clickbait.
Yes.
And sadly, as social media's got bigger, the clickbait articles have become bigger as well, haven't they?
And if you could go back and do anything differently, what would you do?
For me, I wouldn't do it. I didn't think it was a safe environment for me to do Strictly.
Right.
I wouldn't do it. But I loved the dancing. I loved Katya. I loved Jeanette. I loved all the guys, you know, that were there. It was just literally the attention that
Pressure
I got.
cooker.
Yeah, it was a pressure cooker. And anyway, so look, I'm happy now to be back in Wales. Got my new. I've taken a bit of a Chris Evans move.
Yeah.
I'm going to start my own show on my own on Monday.
Congratulations.
WynneEvansShow.com.
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 till 12. So I'm really looking forward to
And
that.
you're singing?
Singing, yeah. I've got a tour coming up in early 2026. I put a show on sale thinking, oh, does anybody actually want to see me anymore? So I just put one on sale. It sold out in like 20 minutes. So I thought, oh, yeah, you know, the support from the winners, as we call them, the people who listen to my show, has been incredible. It's been amazing. Public support has just been absolutely off the scale. And that has warmed my heart and really kept me going.
I'm sure it did. Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you for giving me the time.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Liz as well.
You.
Send her our love. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being so honest as well.
Cheers,
It'll make a difference. If you have any need of any help or support with your own mental health, you just heard Wynne talking about, it's so important that you get some help. Get to the website, ITV.com.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.